Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook family. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. I am coming to you guys from Denver International Airport today, so I'm going to be trying not to be too loud and boisterous and disrupt the other passengers. Just landed actually here in Denver, and I am en route to Eureka, California. So heading back out to see the fine folks of Eureka today, and excited about spending the week out there. Got back here from Calgary, Canada Saturday night, got back to Oklahoma Saturday night at midnight, so got to be home for a little bit and get all restored and recuperated, and now back on the road again. So hey there, Post. So I thought today I'd talk to you guys a little bit about dealing with potty mouth. I got a text message from one of my Lovolution members, and hey Caitlin, good evening to you as well. And she was asking me what to do with her two little boys who are using naughty words and laughing and trying to be funny about inappropriate things. And I think I've talked a little bit about this before, especially with the younger kids. So you have to understand that using a naughty word, we've actually ascribed a lot of negative attention to the use of naughty words, and so with that negative attention comes a vibration, and that vibration is it's stimulating, so it's exciting. So when a kid says a naughty word because it's been labeled as naughty, they're having a potty mouth, then a lot of times they get a little shock out of it and a little excitement, so their little amygdala surges. And you know, the amygdala, fear and excitement are directed in the same part of the brain. So whether a child's scared or whether they're excited, their amygdala turns on, it's activated. So it's like a little light bulb popping on all of a sudden. Hey there, Brenda. And so when a child uses a naughty word, they know it's naughty because, you know, they've heard other kids at school. Maybe they've heard their parents use it. They know what adult words are and what they aren't. And unless a child just using a word that they've heard someone else say, and you know, they're singing it or they're talking about it, but they're not even trying to be funny. They're not thinking that they're saying anything bad because they're naive and they just don't know. But kids who say naughty words and then get a little tickle out of it, it's because they're getting excited. And so what we tend to do is we give it negative attention. So we'll tell the child, well, don't use that. That's a bad word. Don't use that word. And as soon as you use that word, it's like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and the apple. As soon as you use that word, all of a sudden you assign a little bit more meaning and a little bit more intention to it than is necessary. Remember, we all express our emotions through the three pathways: attitudes, feelings, and behaviors. And feelings is just another way that children are trying to transition. They're trying to connect. They're trying to have create a funny situation. They're trying to make light of a situation. They're just trying to have a good time. And so they'll use a naughty word, and you know, maybe a sibling will laugh and they'll both get a tickle out of it, and then they'll say it again. And then the parents come along and we're like, don't use that word, that's not a good word. And as soon as you do that, you give it more attention than you need to. The best way to handle children who have potty mouths is to realize that, number one, you don't want to give it a surge. You don't want to give it an additional surge, and you don't want to create shame around it, because creating shame around it gives it that taboo effect, and they're typically going to go to school and they're going to talk about it and laugh about it with other kids, or they're going to do it and they're going to use it when they're in their room. Some kids will use naughty words just simply in a room by themselves just because it feels good for them to be saying it. In just a moment. Little airport noise there. Had some bananas on that cart, looked pretty good. Might have to head down that aisle here in just a moment. So when a child uses a naughty word, the best thing to do is to first ignore it. Act like you don't even hear it. And then when you hear your children giggling, ask them. Like, just stop all of a sudden and just be like, hey, what's so funny? And immediately they're going to feel a little surge of embarrassment. And one of them, probably the older one, is going to say, well, he said da 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 da. And as soon as you say that, don't smile. So, oh. And then look at the other child. Look at the perpetrator, if you will. Straight face. And say, that's not a real nice word. It's really not a funny word. So let's try to pick a different word. What word could we pick that would be a better word, guys? And just, the thing is, I'm not giving you any attention. I'm not giving you any vibration. I'm not giving you any energy. I'm giving you full attention, but I'm not giving you any energy to the word. I'm just keeping a straight face. What's so funny? Oh. That's probably not the best word to use. Let's not use that anymore. That word makes me feel uncomfortable. Let's choose a different word. And then ask them, what different word could they come up with? And then leave it alone. Don't mention it again. Walk away. Take all the energy at that point, just walk away. And what you do is you leave your child stuck with that moment, that feeling of shame, that feeling of embarrassment. See, I always say, it is not okay for us to make our children feel ashamed or guilty. It's not okay to be made to feel ashamed. It's not okay to be made to feel guilty, but it is okay to be left to feel those things. So we don't want to make our children feel a certain way by telling them they should be ashamed of themselves or you should feel so guilty. See, that's making them feel a certain way. We want to allow them to feel whatever way that naturally comes up, because that's the most educating experience that exists when it comes to developing our sense of morals, our sense of values, our sense of ethics. It's what we feel internally. But when we go to the next level and try to make a child feel embarrassed, or when we try to make them feel ashamed, or we try to make them feel guilty, what we actually end up doing is we actually become the threat. When we become the threat, we take away the opportunity for the natural learning. So that's what you can do. It's very powerful for little kids. Now with teenagers, your teenagers who curse and you don't like it, and I've been doing this, my 24-year-old, she tried to throw out a few curse words back in the day when she was in the teens. It's almost the same thing, but it's a little bit different. Oh, let me, before I jump to teens real quick, what you can do with the little guys is later in the day, like in the evening, when things have all calmed down, you've kind of forgotten everything. You had drums at the airport. Sounds like drums in at least some raggedy cart. But what you can do is go back to them when it's one-on-one and just say, hey, we want to use better words in our family, and that really, it concerns me. It makes me a little sad. It makes me a little scared. Where are you picking these words up at? I mean, I would really like for you to, use words that are more reflective of our family and what we stand for, because when you use words like that, everyone else thinks about our family that way. So they'll think about your little brother that way, or they'll think about your little sister that way. And so just, have that little education, that little teaching moment, not in a shameful way, not in a threatening way or a stressful way, just in a nice, calm, relaxed way. So with teenagers, here's the thing. Teenagers love to cuss. First of all, don't get so caught up on cursing. It's attitudes and feelings, remember? Attitudes and feelings are how we transition. But we don't like it. Like, I don't like hearing my kids cuss. And I know my teenager, Michaela, Marley, not so much. Every now and then she'll toss out a little word. But with Michaela, she'd try to toss out a few more every now and then. And I just look at her, almost the same way you would with a teen, with a smaller kid. You just look and say, hey, choose a different word. That hurts my ears. I don't like that word. And then move on. And I had a group home full of adolescent boys who all love to listen to rap music. So they all love to cuss. And so it's not the cussing. It's not the cussing that's important. It's the connection that you create through the relationship that allows you to influence the child. If your focus is on the curse word, you lose the connection in the relationship with the child. So the modification of the cursing has got to be a byproduct of the relationship. And there'd be times when kids would be cussing, I wouldn't say anything at all. And then there'd be other times where I'd say, hey, you hurt my ears. Choose a different word. How about use freak instead of F? So you give them a word to use. If you don't like the words that they're using, give them a word, give them a replacement word. And then repetition, repetition, repetition. Just like you would with any small child. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Every time that word comes up, you don't have to create threat around it. You don't have to create stress around it. All you have to do is say, hey, take a deep breath. Pick a better word. And then leave it alone. We get so worked up over cuss words and stuff like that when they're just words. It's not the end of the world. It's through repetition that we can teach our children to choose better words. And sometimes when they're cussing, you can just be more mindful and just think about what may be going on with them. And then ask them, is something going on? Because the only time you use cuss words like that is when you're really stressed out. So something must be bothering you. And it's just another way to connect. So that's it, guys. If you haven't registered for Post Parenting Camp 2019, I really want to encourage you. Check out the link in the description of tonight's episode, postparentingcamp.com. And it's going to be 2 really intense, really emotional days. We're already up to like 20-something families. I think I'm going to cap it at 30 families tops. And so it's going to be 2 intense emotional days. We'll do education, then we'll do some emotional work. And that's one of the things I'm always talking to you guys about. Every challenge that you have with your kids, and I think I talked a lot about this in Canada. Every challenge you have with your kids, everyone wants to approach it from a cognitive perspective. But behavioral challenges are not cognitive, and that's the biggest flaw of cognitive behavioral therapy. That's the biggest flaw in psychology, is that we want to approach our children's challenges from a thinking place. They're actually emotional. Behavioral problems are emotional manifestations. They're not thinking manifestations. So you can't focus on a child's behavior, focus on their thinking and try to change their behavior, because it's backwards. Because behavior is a manifestation of stress and fear. And so you have to challenge the stress and the fear and change that, reduce that in order to reduce the behavior. And that's something we're going to be doing a lot of at Post Parenting Camp 2019. So check it out, postparentingcamp.com. I'd love to see you guys there. We have about 10 more slots available. And I think that's it, guys. I'm going to go find me something halfway healthy to eat before I get on this 3.5-hour plane flight to Eureka, California. All right, God bless you. Remember, in any given situation, we always have 2 choices. We can continue to react from our same imprints of stress and fear and overwhelm, or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths, and we can choose love. And I hope you'll choose love. God bless you. Big Papa loves you, and I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to make a real commitment to stay on time. I've got a presentation I'm going to be doing tomorrow evening, but I'm going to try to be on time and keep our Post Daily Dose coming like they should. All right, guys, have a good evening. We'll talk to you soon.